I'm glad to be here. Unfortunately, we are starting a little bit later than we expected. I'm all the way, my hotel is in DC, and we never knew it was this far. But I'm glad that all of you are here. Very, very grateful that all of you are here. I don't think we have an MC for this evening. Is that correct? I'm going to be the MC as well.
Yes.
People are waiting all over the world for this very program to start. And those who can go live, please do go live. We are live here, but unfortunately, some of our faces are not showing because of the configuration of the system we're using. So most of you can go as live as you can. What we need to do is to proceed, first of all. Go, what you get with the back oh no, Ojano in a Baltimore. So there is only Awusa Cola here, not so we have to go with what we know. And you know the people who are here, I don't, so please, where's the coordinator? Yeah, coordinator is here. Please, you're still the state coordinator, the local coordinator. Zone coordinator, is here. Then I'll hand over to him. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. One family. IPOB. Asala me okay mara ko ja pota. Pụkwara la anyị nwe ojii Igbo ebe a. Nke la egosi anyị na ọbọjị Igbo. Anyị taa ya ọbọjị Igbo anyị na-ata ihe a. Ihe ọbụla akpọrọ ya aha ọ bụ ihe ọwụ. Ọ bụghị ihe n'ụmụ ya. So anyị ga-ewere ọjị nye onye ga-egozi ya. Mee ka anyị taa ya tata ụdọ. Nwanne m nwoke. IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. One family. IPOB. Ona mala sa ukebela mbabe. Anachi she ha cho ite. Oh, ina for head of state, world leader. Yes. Opala. Aso you Roger Rendo. I get Emekolo Melala. Because nine and nine in Jai. Amadike Jack, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Then I bought someone at DC with Logi. Would they say, no, Idiala? That's regular man. Thank you.
Kagani goes here. T.Y. Danjuma said, nobody will sleep if I reveal what is happening in Nigeria.
You will not be surprised because he started it when he was 29 years old. He killed Aaron.
Because they are all under a satanic oath. When I was saying it, they thought the world would continue to be very rosy for them. They never realized that Abba Kyari had other plans for them. The man who is in charge of Nigeria is Abba Kyari. He is the president. He was the one that recruited Jubril from Sudan. They know the truth. But the Yoruba that should have carried the truth declined to do so. Because it will mean that those miscreants were right after all. Do you see what that envy and jealousy can destroy you? They don't want the world to say that what IPOB is doing is correct or that we are truthful people. Today, that monster they were helping to feed have now come to consume them. And mark my words and write it down, they will never ever stop until they have conquered everybody. Do you think they're going to stop? No. Because the Fulani also understand that should power leave their hands again, that is over for them.
Of course. And they're almost done now. It's going to be over very soon. Of course.
That is why we must remain very determined and very resolute to do everything within our powers to support whatever project or program being run by IPOB, that Biafra may be restored very quickly and without further delay for our own good, not just as a nation, but also for your individual families. Or else, one day, because since 1980, how many people do you know here in the USA went back home to occupy their father's compound? How many? Yeah, actually, some went. Some left as engineers and came back here now to be security guard. Is that not correct? That is the type of nonsense we are looking to stop. He's a former defense minister. He was very prominent in the running of the zoo. The same thing they did to Kansaruwa, the same thing they did to Adakaboro, the same thing they're now doing to Ojus Okalo, the same thing they will do to Ike Premadi eventually, the same thing they are trying to do to Ziti Fanyoba, who is capital lawyer. Abaribe, they know is untouchable. They know Abaribe is untouchable. They understand that very well. No, it's an old news. No, it's not new. It's an old news. They know he's untouchable. All these people were warned and they were told the only way you can survive is by supporting IPOB. If you don't, they'll come after you. They never listened. And today, what is happening to them? The Fulani people who are corruption themselves. I mean, corruption. They're the ones now pointing accusing fingers, saying that other people are corrupt. So you're telling me there is no corrupt governor from the north? That is Hausa Fulani. Or Fulani, so to speak, not Hausa. Because Hausa people are victims themselves. I'm sure you all know that. Yes. The same way that I warned you that what Fulani did to Hausa people is what is going to happen to everybody. They are very clever. They are very, very clever. They come, they say we are fighting corruption. They've been fighting corruption for the past 400 years. They isolate a few number of you. They convince you that their cause is worthy, that Buhari has come to fight corruption. They stand on that to destroy your way of life. Is anybody from Enugu State here?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? Why?
There are 14 Fulani settlements in Enugu.
Yes.
Settlements, yes. I said, in Enugu. 14 of them. How many priests have been killed in Enugu? How many killed? Do you know that Miet Yala was given $3 million in Enugu to stop further killing? Yes. Yes. Are you aware of that? So even the money that belongs to us, they are giving to Janjaweed, Alamaju. They said they have taken all these Okalo's properties. Properties he acquired allegedly using Abia State money. Is that correct? Yes. Who do you think should be the rightful recipient? They said it's federal government. Who delivered the judgment? A badly educated Fulani judge. Yet our people are still blind. When we are small, there's a saying. We are the ones who are doing exactly that now. They came to Nimbo. They came to Uzowani. They killed us. And people from Enugu State, some are saying they are Nigerians. That is how foolish and how mad some people are. They blackmailed Ugwan into giving them 14 choice pieces of land with which to establish a settlement. And you know how it goes. They start with a settlement. Next, there will be Sariki of the area. Yes. Isn't it? Yes. And next, they get voters card through Jega. And they will vote in their people to go to your council, local council. Isn't it? Yes. And then they have an imam. And from an imam, they now get a small emir in the village. And some of us will be saying, oh, it's in one Nigeria. Their counter argument will be, are you not in Sabongeri in Kanu? But if you're foolish enough, you won't understand. We are in Sabongeri. We worked hard for it. We built Sabongeri. It's a privately owned business. We are not in their land, occupying their land. Am I clear at all?
Yes.
Some people from Enugu say they are Nigerians. The same thing is happening in Ebonyi, where IPOB is battling them. I say it openly everywhere I go to. We are battling them. There is a war in Ebonyi State, and we're fighting them. They are killing us, and we're killing them. They understand that very well. The state government doesn't want to talk about it. The police and the army don't want to say it, but we know what is happening, and we are saying it. Some of you are not aware of the sacrifice that IPOB is making in Ebonyi State. Without IPOB, would have been gone by now. Yes. What some of you see is what we do on the surface. You don't see what we do when the lights are out. And it is all thanks to some of you, or should I say all of you. Where's the coordinator?
That's it right there.
All the people here, are they with us?
Most are with us. Most. No. What joke? There must be. I don't have a good choice than
I want you to understand something. That the work we are doing is for your own good. It's for the good of yourself and your family. If you don't fight for Biafra, who is going to fight for Biafra? I asked before we started, would you prefer that we do nothing and sit at home and do nothing? No, I'm asking them. Anybody in America that is not part of IPOB, would you prefer us to sit in our respective homes and do nothing about it? Huh? Where's the deputy? What did Tanko Muhammad say a few days ago regarding Sharia and the Constitution?
They said they will release it in the Constitution.
Exactly what I said when they appointed that Pawentapa. I said it. It's going to happen. A man who is not lucid enough, not well versed in common law, he doesn't know anything, can barely express himself, is your Chief Justice. And when I meet people on Capitol Hill and I say to them that Nigeria is being Islamized, they say it's not possible. What is your proof? And I show it to them. Is anybody going to stop them from beginning Sharia? Can you stop them?
No.
Can you stop them?
No.
And you are still a proud Nigerian. And you're from the South. I now mean the South, by which I mean the East and the West. And you are a Yoruba person, you're saying you're a proud Nigerian. Because probably you're a Yoruba Muslim. Your allegiance is to the North. Because the spiritual leader of every Muslim in Nigeria is the Sultan of Sokoto. These are the dynamics you need to understand within the zoo for you to appreciate how hopeless some people are. Therefore, it does not matter if you're a militant guiding pipeline in the South. It doesn't matter if you're from a Loren or from Kwara. It doesn't matter if you're one of those people that their village or their land was forcibly appropriated to make way for Fulani settlement in Ebonyi. Once you are a Muslim, you are answerable to the Sultan of Sokoto as your leader. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Do you now see why a sizable number of Yoruba people will always misbehave? Because they get their orders from the Sultan of Sokoto. These are the things that most people do not understand. Whereas you have some Yoruba people who are sensible, who are trying to do the best they can to liberate the Yoruba race. You have other people who are far more interested in maintaining their religious brotherhood by pledging their allegiance and, of course, keeping it to the Sultan of Sokoto. Do you now understand what is happening? Yes. Do you now see why there is need for us to make haste immediately to ensure that Biafra is restored? Yes. And the role that you all need to play in it, not by wasting our time and opening banks and doing things that no one asks you to do, things that are irrelevant. Yes. And I'm asking, how many of you here have spoken to your congressman or senator about what we're passing through back home?
I did.
Only 4 people in this packed room.
I tried to go to Senator Van of Maryland.
You should try and do that.
Yes.
There will be a program we are rolling out. That very effort will be managed by our deputy, Mazi Nnamdi, to ensure that wherever we are in the USA, that we make contact, regular contact with our delegation to Capitol Hill, by which I mean senators and congressmen and women. Absolutely vital, very key in this very effort. You may see it as nothing, but it is huge. Yes. I assure you. They will listen to you more than they listen to me. They know I'm coming from the UK. I'm never ever going to vote for them. They know that very well. But you are the ones that vote for them. And your vote will always count. And there's one thing about Western politicians, they don't play with their constituents. Never. They don't mess with voters. Some of you here can do more work than we are doing. Not by going back and hatching a scheme that is irrelevant. Despite the fact that some of this may be under oath. You know, in this very effort we are making, I said before that this race to restore Biafra is a divine project. And the same way the zoo are busy pursuing us all over Washington, D.C., is how Lucifer is pursuing some people as well within IPOB. Of course, Lucifer, if you are not strong spiritually, you will fall victim to the machinations of darkness. No. You can no longer defend your stance or the stance you took a couple of weeks or a couple of months back. We should do all we can to ensure that such spirit never ever possess us or goes into us. Then Juma said that people are scared of this regime with his own mouth, because they understand the mess everybody is in. And to those of them that talk about South, Niger Delta, Bendel, and God knows what else, when the North speak, when Fulani is talking, they say the North. When Middle Belt tries to revolt or to rise up to assert their identity, they say no, they're rebelling against them. But they are the same people that came and told that this is Niger Delta, this is now South, this is Bendel, this is Midwest. If you try to do something where they come from, they say no. Some of you don't know that when they talk about the North, that includes the 3 Igbo local governments in Benue State. Are you aware of that? So you have Igbo people who are part of the North. Are we aware of that at all? Are we aware of that at all? Yes. Danjuma is saying it. And they are speaking up, and now I believe that the zoo is about to crumble if they can hold their nerve. And when we say that we want Nigeria to come to an end, not the people who are living in Nigeria, not the various ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, no. We want the name, that edifice, to come to an end. Should the people wish to come together to be under one nation or under one country, it is their prerogative to decide. This is something that neo-colonialists don't want us to be saying. That in Europe and elsewhere around the world, they see what they have created, this thing that they have done in Africa, as something that that they did us a favor. You don't know that? Yeah. That's what they say. Oh, we don't want anything that will disrupt the colonial boundaries. I keep asking them, but Scotland can go, yes? Yes, Scotland can go if they want to. But why can't Biafrans go? No, because we don't want to disrupt the boundaries.
Wicked plan.
Some of you don't know the battles we are facing. Some people go on social media and they write, oh, give us Biafra, please. As if it's easy. It's never easy. And the work that IPOB is doing now has never been done before, ever in our history.
That's true. That is true.
Do you know that after the war, according to Irish records in Ireland, which they say it's 5 million, isn't it? I keep saying 3.6 million. The Irish newspaper published and said it's actually 5 million people that died. Yes. 5 million dead. There was Ohaneze in 1976 after the war, so to speak. There were no group of people that came together to say that what happened to us is wrong. Let's try and correct it. Everybody jumped into the wagon of one Nigeria. If they had insisted, at least for a public commission of inquiry, some kind of hearing, what is happening today would not happen. But because the Fulani succeeded in committing Holocaust and they got away scot-free, they got away with it. That is what is emboldening them to set up their checkpoints. That is why if they slap you and you slap back, they kill you. That is why when we come out to protest, they shoot us. Because they were not held to account before. And those that want to be called leaders failed in their duty as leaders then and are still failing till this very day. Armenians in America, again. You know Armenia?
Yes.
Have you heard about the Armenian genocide?
Yes.
Have you heard about it before?
Yeah. 1921.
1921.
1921.
Armenian genocide was recognized here by Congress. When? A few days ago. Because Armenians in America said if we don't do anything now, the Turkish government can come tomorrow and even kill more people. So when you bring your suffering to light, you're putting the perpetrators on notice that the world is aware of what you did before. So if you start again, they will hold you responsible. But we have not done it. I don't live in America. I said it from the beginning, those who started with us from initially. 2 sets of people will get us Biafra. 2 sets of people. Or 2 things will need to happen, sorry. 2 things will need to happen before Biafra will come. What are those things? The involvement of our women and the rising up of those of you in America. Only America, only Unwane back can give us Biafra quietly and peacefully. Are you doubting me?
No.
We must.
Everybody. I keep saying this all the time. The Somalis that came yesterday, are they more than us in number in America? Let's be honest. Are they more in number than us?
They are less than 10,000.
But they're organized.
Yes.
They are organized. I wish for once we can put ego, put our self-importance, put our very greedy nature behind and try to be fools, maybe for about 6 months. We've been doing something, we've been wise all these years, we've accomplished nothing. Let's try to be foolish a bit, just only 6 months. And you'll be shocked what we can achieve in America. That 6 months, no envy, no jealousy, no greed. Just do as you're told. For only 6 months, you will see what will achieve in America. Because our enemies are not relenting. And don't know when you know plenty of them. There are those in Britain that believe that the coming of Biafra will signal the end of the world. Listen to me very carefully. Everything I tell you is gospel. It may sound very outlandish today, but tomorrow you'll be the one to write on Facebook. It's true. I heard it before. There are those that believe that Biafra, of course, is true of anywhere, that Biafra is the light of Africa. When you meet them during our normal routine meetings with them, they will never tell you that. They know you more than you know yourselves. They know we are industrious. They know we are blessed. They know we are hardworking. They know that engineers are born from our mother's womb. They know that very well. It is their responsibility to stop you from imagining. So you have more enemies than you can ever dream of. But every power on this very earth belongs to God in heaven. Yes. And as I pray all the time, do you know why we are successful most times? Because when I go down on my knees to pray to Chukwuka Abiyama, I say to him, are you not telling me that you love the Fulanis more than you love your children? And within 2 or 3 days, things will begin to happen. There is always confusion in their camp. Whose phone is that? Unbelievable. They will say, put your phones on mute, please. Try and put your phones on silent, please. Yes. It's distracting. Distracting. So now that the Middle Belt have realized, let me tell you what Danjuma said, which is what I have been saying on Radio Biafra from day one. In Yoruba land, everybody seems to have lost their voice. They are scared, and people appear not to care about what is happening. They don't care. And now everybody is being consumed. The Fulanis cannot come and take the East and leave the West alone. It's not possible. And they have the numbers to do so. They have opened their borders. Your own borders are closed. The doors are open. You get up the next day and you say, I'm in Nigeria. You are helping Abba Kyari and the Fulani cabal, the Janjaweed, the Caliphate, to fulfill their mission and their goal without you knowing it. Every day you wake up and you say, I am a Nigerian, you are advancing the Fulani cause. The only thing that drives them away, both physically and in the spirit, is the name Biafra. Once you mention Biafra, Fulani. Spirit. Always. Spirit. Danjuma said, if you want the details of what is happening in Nigeria, I'll give it to you privately. But I, Nnamdi Kanu, I'll give you mine in public. Yes. Yes. In public. That's what he said. He said it here. If I tell you what is happening in Nigeria today, you will no longer sleep. He went on to say, sir, so Chief Ayo Adebanjo's warning and advice is very timely. If you want details, I will give it to you privately. Well, you know, at the age of 88. Somebody said, what is he afraid of? And I say, because he is not a Biafran. Yeah. Only Biafrans speak the truth and damn the consequences. Only us. No other set of people. And this is something we all need to understand. The same isolate and kill they employed when they killed Sarawiwa, they used to kill Adakaboro before him. They will continue to use to kill us, to divide, to kill, to eliminate. Once you're vulnerable, they pick you up and you're gone. Despite all the years of service and servitude to them, all ignored. I remember now, I even remember when we were small. You know, when you were born, they don't give you goat or chicken, isn't it? As a child. And you grow up with that chicken. You'll be feeding it. Is that correct? Don't you love the chicken? Eh?
I said you would go cook.
Where are you? Are you all listening to what we say? You come back from school, you drop your school bag, the first thing you want is a cooker. Do you know the funniest thing? One Easter or one Christmas or New Year festival, your mom will ask you to go and bring that same chicken and kill it. Some of us turn to emergency vegetarian after that. Because we can't believe it's that lovely chicken that's in the stew now. That is our life with the Fulanis in the zoo. They are looking. I have a Fulani friend. I'm sure. Onyema. When I preached to him and told him that they're wasting their time, they said, "No, I have a friend. I have one of my friends in Sokoto, one of my friends in Kanu, one of my friends in Meduguri." But did none of his friends come? Did they come? No. They came to IPOB to do something about it. That is your lot with the Fulanis in the zoo. They pretend they love you, they pretend they like you, but they despise you. And it is a good thing now that the Yorubas are beginning to realize that they themselves are not immune to what the Fulanis are doing. You say you are a Nigerian. The Yoruba Fulani servant will say they love you. They will say, "Oh, why are you asking for Biafra?" That's what they will ask you on social media. "Oh, I grew up with Adeyemi. We all grew up in Lagos. I'm against Biafra. I don't want this your Biafra thing. This your Biafra of a thing. I want to get the right word. Not even that's your Biafra of the thing. That's your Biafra of the thing. Have you asked yourself these questions before? Why is it that no seaport is working? Have you ever asked yourself that question before? Yes. Have you asked yourself that question before? Yes. Why is Iguacha Seaport not working? Why is Calabar not working? Why is Warren not working? Have you asked yourselves that question before? Before you decide to be a good Nigerian, have you asked yourself why you have no international airport? On my way here, we drove past BWI, is that correct? Yes. International airport. Is that correct? Yes. There is Dallas as well. There's even the Reagan one. You can fly to in a very small area, so to speak. 3 international airports. Ask yourself that is claiming your area. You say no to IPOB. You see what is happening and you keep quiet. You will lose your children in America. They will marry white people here. They will marry Hispanics here. Your name will die in this very place.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man.
Oh. Let me ask you people. Do you think we are doing what we are doing to be what? Huh? No. Why do you think we do? Let's be honest with ourselves. Why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing?
Love of your people. Love of your people.
Let me say it one more time. I am not leading IPOB to become the president of Biafra. I will not be, no matter what. I am not doing it so I will get contract or land or influence.
Whatever.
As I told them yesterday, once Biafra comes, I will go to a place called Iyojitan in my village. I will build a house and I'll build a ditch around it. I fill it with water and I'll put crocodiles inside it.
Are you coming out? How do you get out of it?
Because serving people is not easy. It's the most difficult job in the world. Yes. I see Trump sweating sometimes when they're doing to him. I keep saying to myself, I wish Trump can come and head one one group alone in Biafra land. I'm sure our coordinators are here, they can testify, isn't it? Our coordinators are here, isn't it? Sometimes I know my name, but all the same, we love our people because we're very unique. A very special breed. In spite of all the, I wouldn't call it disappointments, in spite of all the challenges, I think that's a better word for it, we're encountering. There are people in prison right now. People have sacrificed themselves for this very effort. 28 died in my house that I may live. Because of them, we march on. And because of them, Biafra will come. I have no doubt. And our message to all those who are unfortunate enough to find themselves in the zoo, courtesy of the British, the mission of IPOB is to set everybody free. We are not going to come to your land to ask you what is in your land. Instead, we'll give you the ones we have. And I want to repeat on record, that every part of the zoo will receive abundant oil and gas to do with as they please. Anybody telling you that we are fighting for Biafra because of oil and gas, you know that person is very, very stupid. It is in our interest as Biafrans to make sure that Yoruba has oil and gas in abundance to grow the economy. Fulani the same. You don't understand what economic growth is all about. I will even go as far as all of West Africa, for the simple reason that it is in our interest that they are also developed. In our interest. I've said it before. I think America is about to sign the NAFTA. Is it the new revised NAFTA? Have they signed it?
No, not yet.
It is in the interest of America that Canada is doing well, that Mexico is doing well. If Mexico is doing well, do you think they will cross over the border to come in here? If we don't help to grow the economies of Oduduwa, of our neighbors, so to speak, then the influx will be unsustainable for us. And we don't want that. We don't, not at all. Therefore, everything we preach, everything you hear, this effort to restore Biafra is the responsibility of every man, woman, and child in the USA. The state of Israel was born here.
Yes.
Albania was born here. Kosovo was born here. Even Eritrea was born here. They don't even hide it. Southern Sudan was born here. They say that those with Abraham as father don't go to hell. Is that correct? We have all of you in America. Why should I come to Capitol Hill and be struggling all the time to convince your own congressman or woman or your senator when you're there already? And it won't cost you anything. And they'll even listen to you more than they'll listen to you. These are the assets we have that the zoo cannot stop. Your congressman is not going to give your name to DSS back home. Of course not. You can make phone calls. You can follow them on Twitter. You can tweet, can't you?
Yes.
Don't tweet anyone, just tweet your local, even your mayor, and say, this is what is happening in my land. We need to bring the issue of Biafra to the streets of America.
They have already sent us Christmas greetings, most senators.
Very good. These are the things, because you are the ones voting for them.
Yes.
These are the things you need to understand. I don't know how to say it sometimes for us to begin to appreciate the enormity of this very task and the need for those of you in America to rise up and do the needful. Do what you're supposed to do. We are marching next year in July, is that correct?
Yes.
If you have not taken your holidays, if you've not booked that July again,
No,
I think they said no. That we cannot short the 20 something. July 20th.
Okay, after their independence, okay. Which is good.
July 20th. June 20th. They brought it forward to June. Sorry, June 20th.
Okay.
They've changed from July now to June. You know, we are tenants. Is anything the landlord says that we'll do.
Okay.
The flyer will be out very soon. Now, July 20th. June. Sorry, June.
June 20th.
I'm here July and I'm listening. June 20th. June 20th. Yes?
2020.
Go and get all your children and your grandchildren out of school on that very day. Is it holiday period or is it school period?
Yeah, I think it's summer.
Yeah, school is about to close. Which is elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yeah, and high school.
We need all our children in Washington, D.C. for this very match. Everybody must come.
I can show her number.
Everybody must come to let the world know how big we are here. Once we do it, they'll start looking for us. We don't longer look for them. They'll come to us
Game of numbers.
because we have the numbers and we can make a difference. It is about time that we begin to reason. As I said, the next 6 months of 2020, I'm begging all of you, those who are here and those who are all over the world, we have been doing our sense for many years.
More than 80 years.
It got us nowhere. I am begging Biafrans all over the world to try to be stupid for the first 6 months of next year.
Yes.
And you see what we'll achieve together as a people. Yes. The only people now stopping the Janjaweed from their march to the south is IPOB. Are you in doubt? No. Are you in doubt? No. Chairman, they don't know what is happening back home. We are everywhere. We own the land. The land belongs to us. And there is nothing Alamaji can do about it. That land is ours. And they can never come in. And I have not told you, also, as a result of the moves we are making in Washington, telling them what the army is doing. I also got information today that the Nigerian army have decided to pull out of Biafra land and places they're occupying. It's here. Some of you don't understand what diplomacy is. When you meet a congressman or a congresswoman and you're telling them these are your problems, they may say to your face, I'm not interested, this thing, go and resolve it. But because they are, they have conscience. When they go back, they think about it and they see there is merit in what you're saying. And then they act upon it. They may not tell you. This country is here to serve a purpose. And we built this country. As I tell them. America is strong today all over the world because they received 200 years of free labor. Is that correct or not? You know, I speak the truth. Even when I went to China, I also speak the truth. Those 200 years of free labor came from our ancestors here. Is that true or false? True. So we must take advantage of our situation here to help our land back home. Very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important, please. The Zoo Army said that they have no security challenges in the east. But all the same, they have to stay there because of IPOB. And as I keep saying, every generation that will come after us, even their children and their children's children, they will remember IPOB.
Yes. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
Oh, Forever Foundation.
Yes.
Sani said to Danjuma, let Nigeria burn and be free instead of hiding the truth.
Good.
So those who were scared to speak out before, they're now speaking because we sacrificed a lot of lives. This same IPOB remained very resolute.
Yes.
That is why those with a little courage are now coming out to say what previously they were afraid of saying. And he went on to say, he was a former senator, to say Nigeria is sitting on many fault lines is an understatement. The difference between IPOB and any other group, any other nationality, any other ethnic group is that we say something, we stand on that everything that we are saying, and we do something about it. Unlike the rest.
Yes.
Unlike the rest. And that is why we remain ever so formidable.
Yes.
My happiness today is that right across Biafra land, I said across the whole of Biafra land, everywhere is reverberating and resonating to the message that IPOB is issuing to our people. IPOB in Lebanon, of all places, Lebanon, is entirely made up of our brethren from Efik.
Awesome. Wow.
And they do. I don't want you to think that IPOB is an Igbo affair or restricted across the Niger. Everybody wants to be a part of it because they have seen the light, they have seen the truth. That what we have been saying is the truth. We are not against anybody. We are not asking to take your land, to take nothing at all, but for everybody to be free to decide what they want to do with their lives.
Yes. Simple.
That is why today they reference us. And no fences will be, are they going to mend any fence? The zoo? What's their name? I don't want to mention them. Those that work for Anga Abdullah, the people that issue them quick notice. All those who go eating Alamajiri. Do you know what they said? Let me see if I can find it, because anytime I do news analysis, I always use what they say. I always use what comes out of their mouth. Do you know what the Al-Majri boy said? He said that they should go and do that the zoo should incorporate referendum in their constitution. Did anybody read that very news? No, you didn't. I will find it. Uche, did I send it to you? I'm going to find it. That was what they said. That they want. I have it with me. I have it with me. Somebody sent it to me on my way here. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Because these are the things that we are doing that some of you do not know is resonating within the zoo. The person actually said, and many good news on my way here, to be honest with you. Even the Wall Street Journal have written about what the Fulanis are doing. Is here. Was, of course, on my way here was sent to me. So that the work we are doing on Capitol Hill is yielding a lot of results. Of course it is. Of course it is. I want to find it for you so you can read it. It's from the Nation newspaper. Nation newspaper. Not Tinubu. Alamajiri Nako. Alamajiri, those Alamajiri kids. Northern group seeks inclusion of referendum in constitutional amendment. And they gave reason as to why. Nation, go and look for Nation newspaper. Kenyan network ever. Nation newspaper, please look for it. Northern group seek for referendum to be included in the constitution amendment. Look for it and find it for me. If you find it, read that for me, please. And they said it is because of IPOB. Find it for me. For those of you that thought that what we are doing was meaningless, that is confirmation. You know, have you seen it? Has anyone seen it? network in America. Internet in America.
Communication.
Find it for me, please. It's on Nation newspaper.
The communication is center.
It's okay. Just don't. No. Absolutely. Have you found it? You found it. Thank you very much. Northern Group 6, inclusion of referendum in constitutional amendment. They are now urging the National Assembly to, without further delay, because they know we are destroying the zoo, without further delay, commence the amendment of the Constitution with the primary aim of inserting the referendum clause in the Constitution that will pave the way for the restructuring of the country. They also went on to say that they are now faulting the failure of previous administrations for failing to include referendum in the Constitution. Listen, which would have guaranteed member ethnic nations for the very first time. They are acknowledging that the zoo is made up of ethnic nations. Their right to self-determination. According to this Alamajiri that was saying this, if this clause had been in the Constitution, the country would have been saved. Listen to the grammar. The country would have been saved the violent effects of agitations by militant ethnic groups in the country, such as IPOB.
Wow.
And I told you before that after dealing with them, they will beg us to take our Biafra and go. I told you, after dealing with them, they will say, take this your Biafra and go. If the Fulani are wise, if they are sensible, they will give us referendum tomorrow morning. Or else we will destroy the Fulani image all over the world, that they will be worth nothing.
It's done. It's almost done. They have been exposed. They are exposed already.
They will worth nothing. They are playing with us. They don't know how determined we are. They don't understand how focused we are. They don't understand what we are prepared to sacrifice for Biafra. They underestimated us. And it's a good thing they did.
Yes.
If they knew how serious we were, I'm sure when I was arrested, they would have killed me or shot me on the spot.
And damn it.
Now they know. Now they know we are Biafrans. Now they know there is no going back. Now they understand how serious we are. The Yorubas can choose to be slaves in Nigeria. The Biafrans will never be slaves in Nigeria.
They say, never.
They have lost their voice, but we have not lost ours.
Yes.
We will continue to speak.
Yes.
I also have a message for all component ethnic groups in Biafra land. Those that they will give peanuts to and tell you, oh, don't worry, we'll clean your village for you.
Strategy.
Those that will go to, because that's what they do all the time.
Always.
I call it the warrant chief methodology. You know, we had no, forget all this as a thing you're saying, you know, we had none before. Yeah, what of that?
Course.
Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody says, oh, my father is the traditional ruler or the Eze or the king, there is no king in our land.
Never.
These are warrant chiefs imposed on us by the British.
Of their strategy.
And that is what the Fulanis are doing now.
Mm-hmm.
They determine who your leaders should be. I said it before. Some people didn't quite understand. You see that America, that idiot. Or if yes, we are going to set an example with him. They were the first set of people. When the Fulanis came into our land, when they came into Oka and beyond during the war, their aim, according to Murtala Muhammad from his mouth, their aim was to kill everybody. Every male child up to the age of 10 to 12. Then convert them to Islam. Appoint them to be the leaders of our communities. When that very plan failed, they used one or two people to go and form Ohaneze. I keep saying it all the time. Because I may call a meeting now of a few people together to start something, but you wouldn't know what I have in mind. You wouldn't know who sent me. Some of our people here in the USA, a governor will come and give them some money. Say, call your friends. And they call their friends. And they start one thing or the other. Isn't that correct? Isn't that correct? That was what happened to Ohaneze.
Strategy.
And Ohaneze became a tool at the hands of the Fulani Caliphate with which to destroy our people. Because Wodo was arguing with me that Ohaneze was formed by a notable Igbo man. And I said, you're talking.
I say, the clown and falsehood.
If they were formed, imagine that somebody with my type of outlook, or should I say the outlook of IPOB, we have to be in charge of Ohaneze. Do you think 3 Igbo local governments will be in Benue State? No. Do you think Ebama will be divided into 3?
No.
Do you think Obi will be outside Igbo land?
No.
There's a place called Ejagam in Cross River State. Are you aware of that? Ejagam.
Which is Ejaga in
Ejagam in Cross River State. Do you know there are Igbo communities in Cross River State?
Yes.
Are you aware? They cut you and put you. When Alamajiri wants to draw the map of the zoo, they put one tiny dot. That's what they're doing in DC. They come to the office of the senator. They show one tiny red dot in a green landmass and say, oh, these people doing all this. They're only there. They're not even the majority of the people. That is why I say to our people, Inefi Kibibio, Anang, Eket, Oron, the Ijaw people. I'm very glad that we are now beginning to wake up in a part of the world. That if we don't bind together, as the Yorubas have now realized, that they need to work with IPOB in order to stop this influx of Satan. If you don't work with us, all of us together as one family, this great IPOB, we will be overrun by the Fulani Caliphate. The Fulani themselves they have not fought any war before. Never. People always fight their wars for them. Are you listening to me? Yes. Fulani gets you to do their dirty work for them. Fulani did not defeat the Hausa. Fulani convinced the Hausa to fight themselves. During the war, Fulani convinced T.Y. Danjuma and the Middle Belt to fight Biafrans. The entire infantry corps of the Nigerian army was made up of people from the Middle Belt.
Yes, 75%. 75.
They are in Sokoto, calling the shots, saying, oh, we are one Nigeria. We North. What happened to the North? And I said to the North, if you were together and won, how come you started with only 13 states of Sharia? Why not the rest? Do you people know that the Baggy people, where Babangida or Babangida's mom comes from, they're agitating for their own recognition in the zoo? Those that own Abuja, are you aware of that? They call them Gwari, their name is Baggy, but because in Hausa language they cannot, because of the syntax, they cannot pronounce Baggy. That's why they call them Gwari. Yes. They cannot, and now somebody that speaks Hausa cannot pronounce Bagi. They cannot. Go and try. It's just like asking them to pronounce president. These are historical facts in the zoo. Today they are fighting to be free. And I want to encourage every group in the Middle Belt. I want to encourage everybody, every ethnic group in the zoo to rise up against this impending doom and disaster. Or else we'll all be consumed. And what happened to Hausa people will happen to all of us. By the time you know it is too late.
God forbid.
Do you think the left will help you abroad?
No, of course not.
You think they'll help you?
No.
That is why we need to work very hard to ensure that Biafra is restored in our time.
Yes.
Others may fall apart, but this very IPOB will never ever fall apart. Never, ever, ever. I have told you this story before, but I will repeat the same story tonight. I will keep saying it until it filters into our skull. Fulani people are migrants. They are not Aborigine. They are not original to Sokoto. Listen very carefully. They are not original to Sokoto. Sokoto is Gobe, not Sokoto. The real name is Gobe, not Sokoto. I repeat. Fulanis, they came. The stupidity of the average Hausa person is the reason why we are in the mess we are in today. Understand this very well. If you understand the mindset and the approach of the Fulani, you'll be able to defeat them. We in IPOB, we know. And that is why we are defeating them. They came into Sokoto with their cattle, as usual. That happened in 1754. In 1754, they came into Gober, pretending they have come. You know what they started saying? Oh, we have come to fight corruption. From Senegal. All the way from Senegal. The same way today in Abia State, they are fighting corruption. And they said to the Hausa people that we're actually Muslims before these vandals came. The version of Islam you're practicing is idolatrous. It's not consistent with the teachings of what we now know today to be the Wahhabi sect. That we need to change them. They employed Othman Danfodio as an ordinary teacher. A teacher to teach the children of the king, who was then in Katsina. Are you following me? Yes. Like those who are opening banks. You came to my house, I cooked for you, I presented it. I called you to come and eat in my house. And you're not telling me that the way I'm shoveling the rice is not good. Oh. But it's my rice, I cooked it, and I invited you. They told the Hausa people that their kings were corrupt. Yes, and I was back home. They said, Yowa. You did not ask the person telling you that your kings were corrupt what his motives were. And funny enough, can you turn off your phone? Please turn off your phones if you can and put it on silent or vibrate if you may, please. Please. And in 1804, he managed to convince the Hausa peasants that the thing stopping them is corruption. That they have to fight this war against corruption. And they started a war against corruption. The Hausas foolishly fought war against corruption against their own people. and overthrew their kings. And the Fulanis replaced them as their emirs. As the Fulanis, listen to this very carefully. Zoo. It has a very funny history. As the Fulanis conquered the Hausa people, the Hausa helped them to conquer the Wagi people. Yes. You know, the Hausa people, they have, is it 14 families they have, isn't it? The 7 bastards and the 7 legitimate children. Thank you very much. And Bokoi and Banza, isn't it? That's Bokoi. They helped them to conquer everybody. Now the Hausas help to conquer the Wagi people, who help to conquer everybody else, the thieves, everybody, all the way to Idoma. That today some Idoma people are Muslims. Are you aware of that? Yeah. They conquered them. One innocuous Fulani plan to conquer the Hausa people ended up at the confluence of River Niger and River Benue in Kogi land. They started moving towards the east. When they got to Medugri, the Sheikh of Brano told them, no, there is Islam here already. Please go back. That was why Brano remained untainted for a very long time. As they conquered the Hausas and the ethnicities of the Middle Belt, they now descended on the Yoruba people. They conquered the Yoruba people. That is why there are Muslims in Yoruba land. Not just all the way to Lagos Island.
80% of Muslims are Yoruba.
They came to Biafra land. As you know, they would. They came to Biafra. What happened to them?
They died. I think 1677.
They died.
Yeah,
Sesefly killed all of them.
1677.
Yes. Ordinary Sesefly. For those who don't believe in God in heaven, because there was need for God in heaven to preserve his children.
Always.
And they died on the plains of Benue.
97% of them died.
And they were very, very upset about it.
97%.
And Uthman Danfodio swore that they would dip the Quran in the Atlantic. And the only person that they felt could do that in modern times was Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, that's their mission. To bring Islam into our land, to conquer us as a people. Because we are very proud people, we are blessed people.
Yes.
That is why they're doing all they can to subdue and to subjugate you. So anytime you foolishly say to yourself, I am a Nigerian, you are advancing the Fulani agenda in your life, not just in your own life. Anytime you rise up in America and you say, I am a Nigerian, you are responsible for your children not going home.
Yeah.
You are responsible for the end of your lineage. Because we give birth to children and we name them Ahamefuna. If Biafra doesn't come, Ahunu gave in America. I'm telling you this simple truth. The only thing that can bring your name back to the village, because the best days of our lives we spend abroad, isn't it? When we are dead, they take us back. When we are useless to our community, that's when they take us back. I need you to understand this very, very clearly. Americans are in America developing America. Is that correct or not? Europeans are in Europe developing Europe. Only when they are expatriates. Even now, we've taken South Africa from them. They're now even returning back to Europe, some of them. How do you think that you can live in America grow your family in America, and where you come from will be developed. How is that possible? Oh, some of you think that if you make your money in America and you go back home and you build a story building, somehow you've done something.
Oh, no.
Is that an achievement?
No.
Never.
You built a house where you will live, I think it's an achievement. Huh? What contribution are you making towards the advancement of the lives of other people? No library, no hospital, nothing.
Search.
Do you see why we need Biafra? And do you see why you need Biafra more than Biafra needs you?
Yes.
Because it sounds very perverse, but it's true. Biafra is actually a selfish enterprise. If you don't own Biafra as your own property, as your own thing, I'm doing it for myself, you fall by the wayside.
Always.
You can't do Biafra for Nnamdi Kanu or for whoever. It's not possible. You're doing it for yourself. Because in this Biafra, that is what will guarantee the continuity of your name, the development of where you come from, the pride you will feel as a free person. All this race, that. People, are you not tired of it? Yeah? But I say black and white, black, every blessed day. Are you not tired?
Yes.
Are you not tired staying in a place where you know you can never ever fulfill your life's potential? Are you not tired? Maybe some people enjoy being slaves, but I don't. I don't enjoy it and can never enjoy it. Outside, after doing your slave labor outside, you come back to your land, and Fulani Janjaweed is lording it over you, and you accept that? People who are illiterates, stark illiterates, uneducatable, impossible to educate, no matter how much you educate them. Alomajiri will be Alomajirism.
Yes, forever. 4.5 billion years. That's what they are.
I will keep asking the same questions that I ask all the time. Can you show me one Fulani poet?
Never. Never.
They contribute nothing.
Nothing.
Can you show me one Fulani scientist? Do we have any Fulani scientists? How come they cannot do anything right? I have never met a Fulani doctor before. Have you met one before, Uche? Huh? No, better have no. I will ask again. Where have you met a Fulani doctor? I didn't say how's that doctor. Have you met them before? Have you seen them before? How come they cannot be a doctor? They are not pharmacists. But they are good enough to be the president of a country. And you expect to be developed. Is that possible?
No, it's not.
Sometimes I ask myself, what type of planet are people living on? People who are blessed, people who are industrious, people who are hardworking. They are not qualified to be president. It is those who cannot be president. Do you see how people reason in the zoo? People who are nomadic are now qualified to hold the highest office in the land. Those who are educated are in America, doing irrelevant jobs in America. And you're telling me that all is well in Nigeria. You're telling me that to be a proud Nigerian. Who is a proud Nigerian here? Who is a proud Nigerian here?
Nobody.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here, because we are not proud of it.
I want you to understand something. Very, very important, please. It is your responsibility. Biafra is yours. You must own it. If you're not aware of what is happening back home, I please urge you to acquaint yourselves with the atrocities going on back home. If you don't know already, you ought to know by now that our land is under occupation. You cannot come out as a free being to express or to exercise whatever right they claim they have given to you. via their sham constitution. That is why Biafra is going to come. And that is why nobody can ever stop it from coming. Therefore, as we are gathered here today, I must make it very clear that Biafra belongs to each and every one of us. Yes. IPOB is our own thing. It belongs to everybody. Yes. It belongs to everybody. And try to always resist the temptation, because the devil will come, I assure you. Try always to resist the temptation of the devil speaking through you, of always finding fault and not being able to do things the right way. IPOB is a family under one command structure. Only one, not two, not three, not four. Once you're under oath, you have sworn to abide by the structures of IPOB, not your own. I am fond of when people come to see me privately, we discuss one or two things that, we have in mind or what we are doing. And I've noticed that each time I do that, some people go out and try to implement that very thing that I've said we ought to do. And that is a very serious disease. We are not in any competition with anybody. All we want is Biafra. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Had Wazirike behaved himself, they have done it for IPOB. I have said it many times. Had they been consistent, truthful, and transparent, they have done it for IPOB. I don't want our people to think that somehow we are in some sort of a race between each other. Our race is against Awusa, no, Fulani, not Awusa. I keep saying Awusa Fulani sometimes. If we tell you what we have in mind to do, unless there is an order to go and implement that very thing, you are not allowed, you are not at liberty to implement it. I said, whatever thing you can do to ensure that Biafra is restored. It doesn't mean you should take an idea that belongs to DOS, you were privy to, and try to implement it yourself. When your mom says to you after school, oh, go into the kitchen, there's a pot of soup there, take some and eat. She's not asking you to go and empty all the meat and the fish inside the soup. You're supposed to have common sense. Is that correct or not? We have a problem, which may be we are going to have a day of prayer and fasting. Every evil spirit to leave us alone. I'm telling you the truth. Because our enemies always come together to fight us. We must always band together to repel them. Unless you're asked to do something, don't do it. Go and get people, preach this very gospel to those around you. Go to your workplace, contact your senators and your House of Reps members. Take this very word of Biafra to them. The materials you will send to them, we will circulate to you. That's what we want you to do. Not to go and start opening a bank. That's not what I asked you to do. Because if you try that, the name of Biafra has now entered their records. When we now come up with our plan for the bank, the corporate bank wanted to float, it's very, very difficult for us to carry that through. We wanted to float a corporate bank, not banking for everybody, for a reason. Why you need such a bank? We lost the war because we couldn't get weapons in. Are you aware of that? Yes. That was why we lost the war. Yes. Our fathers were playing about with sticks, pretending it's a gun. They go into battlefield with nothing. It's only those they can kill on the enemy side. They take their guns, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you think Fulani can defeat us in a war? No. Huh? Even if we are blindfolded. We had no guns. We had no guns during the war because there was it open to us. I'm doing this now because they have ruined it. What we wanted to do. Something so secretive. Now our enemies, they know. Now they know. Because they labeled us a terrorist group. We need source of funding that they cannot question. And it's usually on Facebook. Some idiots are there busy laughing and typing and liking as if they are mentally deranged. My happiness is that they will never come home again. They will never come home again, I assure you. Because men have died in this very effort.
Yes.
Yes. So far now.
As we speak.
Obere was fighting for you and he was beheaded in a bomb. I'm sure you saw his body. Fighting to save you so you can have land to go back to. Idiots are in America opening a bank as if they are foolish. That is why an organization as big as the World Igbo Congress could not make any iota of difference in our lives. As big as they are. With WIC here, why would Nnamdi Kanu come from the UK to come here to lobby your lawmakers? Why should I? You are the ones to do it and tell me what is happening here. What we ask you to you will not do. Ordinary $1. Do you know how much it costs to engage a lobbying firm in Washington, D.C.? I ask all of you, go and try and recruit one tomorrow. Can you quote? Ordinary $1 was a problem. $1 became a problem. Can't you afford $1? I can't you cannot do never in a month. You can't afford $1? Because Fulani people are laughing at us, they are counting on that thing you have inside you, that destructive demonic spirit to question and to argue everything. That's what they're counting on, to colonize and enslave us. When they speak, they say, we know you can never be united. We know. Only $1 only. Is it going to kill you? No. No $1. You're not in IPOB. You don't contribute. Later you ask us, when is this Biafra coming, self?
Yeah. That's how they do. Always.
Others came here and they got something, including very recently Ambazonia. Why should our own be any different? Because some of these they're the ones that will drive us away. They will say, oh, God brought you to bring Biafra. Biafra has now come, so you can go home and stay. Let technocrats in America come and run it. After all, I'm a manager with IBM or Google. That's what you will say to us. And mark it down. This thing is going to happen. You will come from America to tell us that you're coming from the most advanced country in the world. You know how to do it. That we that suffered and died should get away so you can come and do it. Are you doubting me?
Oh, yeah, that's what they're waiting. We have the awareness.
Come and join us to make Biafra a possibility before it becomes the reality of our time. Because your participation is very, very key. Learn something from America. Everybody supported Washington, didn't they? Did they not support Washington? Learn something. Learn something. The thing about it is that because we are very, the whole world is listening. People say don't wash your dirty linen in the public, but I wash my own in the motor park, roundabout. You name ever go to the AM again. You need to understand something. We are very competitive by nature, isn't it? We love to compete. This person has built one-story building. I want to build two. It's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. But that also predisposes us to destructive envy. Very destructive. We are not in IPOB in this Biafra restoration project. We're not in a competition. But if you have a superior idea, you can bring it up. It's my job to listen to advice. I may not take your advice today, but I may see something tomorrow and decide to implement it. The fact that I'm not using your advice now doesn't mean I hate you or don't regard you or don't know what I'm doing. When we were advising the zoo, preaching to them, did they believe us? No. But Yoruba is coward, not me. I didn't say anything. We need to understand this. That in Kiruka, what is ahead is bigger than what we are saying now. That Biafra belongs to you. It is your own. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to DS. It doesn't belong to IPOB. I know in a wider context, everybody is IPOB. Insofar as this movement is concerned all over the world, pushing and moving ahead, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to every single soul. And by the time we have run this race, only those who are worthy, it doesn't have to be us, will be eligible to serve Biafra.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And we don't know who those people are going to be. You, the people, will decide. That is why I urge you this very evening from here and nighttime in Biafra land to do all you can to support our effort. A lot of things I cannot say on air will be coming your way. Just do it. It won't cost you anything. Just go and do it and see what's going to happen. And some of you will think, instead of you to contribute your own $1 every month, you'll be thinking, how many are we in Baltimore?